Hi everyone. Very good morning. Welcome to our morning class. So in this morning class, you people know that we discuss verbal ability questions. We solve, we try and understand para summary questions from various various ways in which we can look at it, make it easier for you from a number of angles and a number of ways. So today's class is about the techniques of para jumbles of para summary, my bad. And we discuss techniques every day, and we discuss all sorts of approach to every day. But today we'll again try and do something. We'll try and talk about certain methods which we always want to apply when we are studying, but we don't apply them for the fear of, say, failure, or fear of getting questions wrong, or the fear of not getting the desired result. So we try and solve questions in a way in which we haven't done earlier, something of that sort. So we'll do something very, very radical and very, very something which has not been done thus far, something very, very amazing. Okay. So, like I tell all the time, solving questions online and trying all these techniques is very important. Solving questions every day, taking test series, one full length test every weekend is once a week is very important, and then analyzing it very important, and then working on those mistakes which analyze is again very important. So Unacademy app will be a very helpful for you. On Unacademy as a subscription will be very helpful because you can take online tests, you can get their analysis, your test series. You have so many options with respect to that, and a lot of things here are free, such as these free live classes, special classes, and like free quizzes which you can take part in, and you can benefit from them. At the same time, there are special live classes which I said to you right now, which one happened yesterday at 5 p.m. and then probably one more is happening on this Sunday at 5 p.m. again. So there's this channel, Telegram channel of ours, which you can in which you can post a doubt. So the link is given below, and whatever your doubts are, we will take those doubts up in the Sunday session, and then apart from that, we will also bring some interesting stuff which you would like to know, which we would like to talk about. More importantly, yeah, test series and their analysis is very important, which you have to be doing. That is the core of this this idea, whatever exercise which we're doing. So, my name is Anupam. This is what I've achieved in life. To stay in touch, download and install Unacademy app. Go to Plus, go to Cat, and subscribe, and you'll see these 5 options. Anything more than 6 months makes sense. The pricing is 15,750, and per month EMI is 1,458 for 12 months. And for 24 months, it is 18,900, and one shot payment. And if you do it in EMI, you pay it on an equal monthly installment basis, you have to pay 875 rupees a month for 24 months, and this is after a lot of discount. And plus over that, this figure will only this pricing will only come, this cost fees will come down to this point. Use the code Saxena Live. At the same time, like I said, that we will be helping you post CAT also in other management entrances also, for interviews and for GDPI also. And so I think it is really helpful. It will be really helpful for you. And after, there are other examinations also, like NMAT, like XAT, like SNAP, like TESS, which will help you land in a good school, so in a good B school, which can give you a good exposure and a good career after that. So yes, so Please invest in yourself, please invest correctly, and please invest wisely. Let's try and solve this question for ourselves. It says that, make it a little, says a distinguishing feature of language is the ability to refer to absent things known as displaced reference. Okay, a distinguishing feature of language is the ability to refer to things which are absent, known as displaced reference. So it starts about talking about something unique about our language, to refer to things which are not present around us. That is all. A speaker can can bring distinct reference to mind in the absence of any obvious stimuli. What is a referent? Referent is something which we are referring to. Reference refers to something. So this person, so for example, I'm referring to say that what do people go to see in Agra. So I did not say Taj Mahal. By this line, what do people go to see in Agra? But what is the most popular tourist destination you will recommend to a person who's coming from outside India? That is Taj Mahal. So I'm not saying it. I'm not obviously trying to attract the attention. Or if I say that what is considered to be this medieval age, the symbol of love. Again, Taj Mahal. What is dream in marble? Taj Mahal. Okay. What is the most significant, most important, most well-known architecture marvel of the Mughal Empire? Taj Mahal. So not using anything which is directly referring to Taj Mahal, but I'm still referring to Taj Mahal. So this is what they're talking about. That's the ability to refer to absent things. Is known as displaced reference. The speaker can bring distinct reference to mind in absence of obvious stimuli. Okay. Though not limited to here and now, can pop into our heads for so saying that thoughts not limited to here and now, which are not limited to whatever we're doing, can pop into our heads for. So if you see from a question solving standpoint, this line number 1 and line number 2 are almost the same. Can we try and solve questions here? Thoughts precede all speech acts. Here it says thought, all them jumping across, says thoughts precedes meaningful referential communication. Here it says thoughts precedes all speech acts. This is what? An assumption. This was never mentioned. Okay. So this is how it is. This is no way, and it says that second part is correct, that thoughts pop up in our heads even in absence of even the absence of any stimuli. So this is what is just to some extent correct. but second says displaced reference is particular to humans and thoughts pop up into our heads for no real reason. Did it ever mention anywhere? I know we haven't read it completely, but did it mention anything with respect to displaced reference being particular to humans, or it's something which is it doesn't happen in case of others? Okay, this was and was this the idea? What they were saying here, that we can refer to things which are absent, we can refer to things which are not present in front of us, and then they say, so this is what they were talking about. So probably 2 is not the right answer. Like, we can still consider it for a moment. Then it says then if you see 3 also, it says only humans have the ability to think about objects not present in the surroundings. Was it anywhere mentioned? Okay. And also saying that displaced reference is particular to human beings. That means others do not possess these powers. So this is again, we don't know. The ability to think about objects not present in our environment precedes the development of human communication. So yeah, says here, thoughts are not limited to here and now and can pop into our heads for unfathomable reasons. This ability to think about distinct things, necessarily precedes the ability to talk about them. This ability to think about distant things necessarily precedes the ability to talk about them. This is what they have said. And thought precedes meaningful referential communication. It's a prerequisite for the emergence of human-like meaningful symbols, is that the mental categories they relate to can be evoked even in absence of immediate stimuli. Right. This is what they're talking about, that this ability to think about distant things precedes the ability to talk about them, and thoughts precedes a meaningful here also they repeat the same thing. Okay, a prerequisite for the, so this is all repeating. So see, first they talk about they talk about, so see, in summary, it is not, it is possible that all the topics, all the main points which were covered. So first main point was that referring to things which are not present, okay, distinct things which are not present in absence of any obvious is stimuli. They, you're not directly referring to it, but you're still referring to it. So saying that thoughts not limited to here and now can pop into our heads for unfathomable. Unfathomable means for reasons which you cannot understand, basically. This ability to talk about distant things necessarily precedes the ability to talk about them. Thoughts precedes meaningful referential communication. So for referential communication is, we can do it, and thoughts have to come before it. That is what they're saying, and this is what has been said here: the ability to think about objects not present in our environment. So this is the right answer. Here I have made it green. I should have made it green. I could have made it yellow here. Oh. Or maybe this. It's correct because it is the part was correct, but it was half incorrect, half correct. Sorry. It's half incorrect, half correct. Even this is also half correct, half incorrect. Same thing, thoughts pop into our heads for no real reason. And saying that thoughts are essential for communication. This was also wrong, basically. So that is how they were talking about. So this is what they were trying to talk about here, that thoughts. So in this way, you can sort of solve your questions in a shorter period of time. That is how they would. This is now it says physics is a pure science that seeks to understand the behavior of matter without regard to whether it will afford any practical benefits. You see, physics is a pure science, seeks to understand the behavior of matter without regard to whether it will afford any practical benefit. So physics is, say, it's more of a knowledge based thing. We can understand, we can infer from it, or a little bit of assumption is also here. And physics does not care if these are all CAD questions. So physics is a pure science. It seeks to understand the behavior of matter without regard to whether it will afford any practical benefit or not. Whether it will bring any good to the practical approach or not. We don't know it. Then it says that I'm sorry, my laptop is making this funny noise. This. Oh. And then it talks about that in engineering, is the correlative applied science in which physical theories are put to some specific use. So engineering is for some practical use, such as building a bridge or a nuclear reactor. So what is happening here? They're comparing two branches of knowledge. Say engineering is applying the theories of physics to some specific use, whereas physics is a pure science which doesn't bother about any practical benefits. Then it says that engineers obviously rely heavily on the discoveries of physicists. It says that engineers obviously rely heavily on the discoveries of physicists, but an engineer's knowledge of world is not same as the physicist's knowledge. Okay, so it's saying that engineering can rely on it, but the knowledge of world, but the engineer's knowledge is not same as physicist's knowledge. Okay, Can we try and solve questions by just reading this much? That's what I'm saying. We will do something very radical here. Let's try from option number 4. Engineering and physics are fundamentally different matters like building a bridge or nuclear reactor. Did it say like this? Only this thus far we have read. Did it say that engineering and physics fundamentally different matters like building a bridge or nuclear reactor? No, it did not say. What it said that engineering is a correlative branch of knowledge, second line, in which physical sciences are put to some specific use, such as building a bridge or nuclear reactor. And engineers obviously heavily rely on discoveries of physicists. So this line number 4, option number 4 is incorrect. Chalo, one down at least. Just by reading half of it, or even say less than half of it, or one third of the paragraph. Then it says that third says that the unique task of engineer is to identify, understand, and interpret design constraints to produce a successful result. Here in this line, it is nowhere talking about in engineering about applying the knowledge of physics, about applying the knowledge of any pure science as such. Nowhere, it's just talking about the unique task which an engineer has to do: understand, interpret, identify. So till this point we did not get any such information, so probably we can take a call that this is not right, but still we can keep it as a standby. Okay. Also, it says that the relationship between pure and applied science, so we can say that this might be a doubtful case. Right? So we think that this is again doubtful. So we'll, whatever, some color we'll give it to it, like that, maroonish sort of color, because we still doubt it. Then one says that relationship between pure and applied science is strictly linear. Did it mention anywhere strictly linear? With pure science directing applied science and never the way around? No, nothing of this sort was said. Nothing of this sort was ever mentioned. And okay, let's read further. In fact, an engineer's know-how will depend on physics theories that from point of view of physics are false. There are some reasons for this. So they're saying that engineer relies heavily on it, on the theory of physics, but he has to sort of put the concepts of physics to some practical use, and he will use certain theories which maybe falls from a pure physics standpoint. Their reasons. What are the reasons? That they are false in purest and strictest sense are still sometimes theories that are false in purest and strictest sense are sometimes very good approximations to the true ones, and often have added virtue of being much easier to work with. So it says that theories that are false in the purest and strictest sense are still sometimes very good approximation and have added virtue to being much easier to work with. So what they are saying that although an engineer applies physics theories, but they may not be very from pure physics, from pure sense standpoint, it may not be correct, because physics is following a very ideal or a very pure form of knowledge. So probably those conditions may not be true in real life, may not be true in real life. So we have to from point of view of physics, which are false. So they're saying that first that the theories that are false in purest and strictest sense They are very good approximations to the true ones. Second, sometimes the true theories apply only under highly idealized conditions. Again, they work under very idealized conditions, and which can be created only under controlled experimental situations. So again, the same thing is coming, that we cannot that theories which which might not work in ideal world can work for an engineer, for doing something, for bringing some results. The engineer finds the real world the theories rejected by the physicists held more accurate, that physics that theories rejected by physicists yield more accurate predictions than the ones they accept. So what they said initially, that engineers world of knowledge, the knowledge of the world, is very different from the what a physicist is applying, because physicists sometimes have to use certain techniques, certain theories, which might not work in ideal world, but they might work in the real world. They are a good approximations to the true ones, and by small modifications, these approximation can work well for an engineer. It can bring results, it can bring safety, it can solve problems. Same thing comes here. We get to know that unique task for an engineer to understand, identify, interpret design constraints. It was nowhere mentioned, it was not said. All they were saying that the knowledge of world is different, their ways of doing work is different, and certain physics theories which they apply, they may not work in real life, but they work they may not work in ideal conditions, but in real life they work basically. So unique task of an engineer is to identify, interpret, and understand design constraint. This is not correct. It says, though engineering draws heavily from pure science, it contributes to knowledge by incorporating the unique and ideal conditions of the world. So this is the right answer. You say that engineering draws heavily from pure science. It contributes to knowledge by applying the constraints and the conditions in the real world. So this is the answer. I think we've solved very quickly today. Very jaldi se we have made all the solutions probably. Say that engineering draws heavily from pure science. Okay. Okay. I think we have done these two questions again. Let us try and just come back. Just give me a moment. Let me just if I can do anything without putting. Okay. 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 I think we have done these two questions again. Let us try and just come back. Just give me a moment. Just, I can do Okay. Okay. I think we've done two questions again. It is fine. See, what happens is that in paragraph summary, all the points cannot be mentioned. So even if it is mentioning 1 or 2 points or 3 points, then that is enough for us. We can sort of we should not strive to look for all the points. Only few points have they been mentioned, as they have mentioned. Then even that is also only one point is also mentioned. Even that is correct if it is presented correctly. If there is no if there are no negative comments or points which do not match to the entire narrative which has been set in the paragraph, if it's different from it, then it's otherwise. But if the entire sense which is coming out in the right option, if it is correct, if it's proper, then probably that is the right answer, right? So I think in that way this sort of has to change here. So here if you see, they did not talk about that mention that a distribution feature of language is able to refer to things and refer to things without obvious stimuli. This was nowhere mentioned. Okay, and thoughts pop us to us for no apparent reason. So sometimes certain things and options are ignored also in the right option, right? So you can ask me this question that why it is ignored, because it's a para summary, right? So the conclusion of the paragraph was that ability to think about things which are not present, which are not near us, which are distant things, we can refer to them, which we have to think about them before referring to them, right? This is what that's saying about, and this is even clearly mentioned here. What was wrong with these bad options? They were talking about things which were nowhere said. Thoughts are essential to communication. It was nowhere said. Only humans have ability to think about objects not present in the surroundings. Was nowhere said. Displaced reference is particular to humans. It was not nowhere mentioned. Thoughts precedes all speech acts. This was again nowhere mentioned. So if you reanalyze the question which is you've just done, what has happened is that all the bad options, they were talking about things which were nowhere said. Okay, and what was said here was only a part of the information, but it was the gist, it was a central idea. Like I said, we have discussed earlier that we have to make central idea, we have to write summary of the paragraph. So if you would have written the summary of the paragraph, still you would have got the answer. But we were trying to do things a little differently today, not going through the usual methodology. So that's why I'm using all these techniques. So again brings us to the same thought, that if you have made central idea, if you have done primary purpose, if you have made central idea and primary purpose of whatever you are doing, then life becomes easier. Coming back again to our this question. So here the entire story was that a physicist and an engineer, they have certain common aspects, that engineering sort of takes knowledge, information from physics, but it applies it in real life with whatever the modifications have to be done, with whatever constraints are there. It it brings in those constraints, and then it applies the knowledge of physics in real world. This was captured in option number 2. Okay. 3-4 says that engineering and physics fundamentally differ on matter like building a bridge or nuclear reactor. This was nowhere mentioned that it fundamentally differs. No, it is opposite to what we have said. It says that engineering is a correlative applied science in which physical theories are put to some specific use, and engineers obviously rely heavily on the discoveries of physicists, right? So this is what they have said in 4th. In 3, they have said that the unique task of an engineer is to identify, interpret, and interpret the design constraints to produce a successful result. So this is again something which is very extremely which cannot be correlated from anywhere. That unique task of an engineer was never. It was a relationship between the physical science, between physics and its theories, and how they are applied, and what sort of physics theories are applied by an engineer, and why they are done. Unique task of an engineer is, this is somewhere talking about a different central idea or a primary purpose which cannot be found out in this entire paragraph. Now, one says about that the relationship between pure and applied science is strictly linear. It was again nowhere mentioned. With pure science directing applied science and never the other way around. Again, this was nowhere mentioned. Saying that it is strictly linear and that anything apart from this cannot happen, this was nowhere mentioned. So this is the story which I was trying to talk about. Yeah. So join me at again 2 p.m. for an RC. We'll bring up some nice good RC and we'll solve it. So Unacademy subscription gives you live classes. It gives you an ability to interact with educator, live pools and leaderboard, test series and analysis, and live doubt clearing sessions. So of course test series are very important. In live classes, what happens, you can chat directly with the so yesterday I was having a special live class in which one of a few students asked some questions and I could answer them, and it was a good session, I can say. And if you will join in, it will become still better. So that's about live classes, and you can interact with the educator. We have live polls. When we ask questions, we can do polls there. Test series analysis, like we've said, that they are like extremely important in preparation for your for knowing where you stand and what you're doing. It's again very, very important. And then you have got these live doubt clearing sessions, which are also very, very important for your people to follow, in which you can ask your questions and whatever queries you have. So asking doubts is also very important. Not piling up doubts is wrong. You have to keep on asking doubts very, very conscientiously. You have to be very conscientious about it. You have to be very, very dedicated about it. So you have to do that. So please use a referral code Saxena Live, and then get 10% discount. Okay. Also, we have got a lot of free offerings on the app, which are the special live class we have, in which you will not be charged anything, and there's a recorded. So in fact, the class which I did yesterday, that is again recorded, and you can have a look at it. So it's like YouTube, things go live, and then after that they're recorded, and you can visit them a number of times for your own benefit. And amazing teachers from across the branches of knowledge, specific to CAT and others, they are teaching and training it. So utilize them, and